Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Consumer Affairs and asks, what evidence from the experience of the many other countries who use interest rate caps does she have to support her conclusion that interest rate caps are, quote, not a viable solution, unquote, to the problem of fringe lending?
Does some minister intend to answer the question? If does
It's on notice.
Order. The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, what's that? On behalf of the Minister, she hasn't considered that in detail.
Point of order.
Point of order,
Mr Speaker, this question has been on notice and I directly quoted from the Minister, and so I'm sure she has considered it.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
I apologise to the House. This was set down for me and I was slightly distracted. I do apologise. I'm happy to answer the question.
Well, Order, this is I must say, Order, I'm on my feet for the moment.
Point of order.
I'm on my feet for the moment. I must say that this is the first time I've seen this occur in my 26 years. But if the member was going to maybe seek leave for something to happen that was helpful, that would be... So long, I'm not sure by the look on the member's face. The Honourable Trevor Mallon.
I seek leave for this question to start again.
Leave is sought for that course of action. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Consumer Affairs and asks what evidence from the experience of the many other countries who use interest rate caps does she have to support her conclusion that interest rates are, quote, not a viable solution, unquote, to the problem of fringe lending?
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
The Minister of Consumer Affairs has said that she has reservations that interest rate caps were a viable solution to the problem of fringe lending, as interest rate caps are a relatively blunt tool to deal with a complex problem. Based on advice from the Productivity Commission, the Australian Commonwealth Government likewise has reservations, particularly about the impact on access to credit, and as a consequence is not prepared to include interest rate caps into their credit reforms without further review of the costs and the benefits. It would be prudent for New Zealand to wait to consider evidence from the Australian evaluation, which is underway.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why is she only focusing on interest rate caps in Australia when they have been implemented right across the OECD, including in the USA, France, Germany, Holland, Italy, Canada and Japan? And when will she join with many other countries in putting a cap on interest rates as one means of taking action against loan sharks?
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Well, I appreciate that the member says that it's only one measure, because the government has several initiatives that address issues around fringe lending. This includes the review of the Credit Contracts and Consumer Finance Act and the implementation of consumer dispute resolution schemes through the Financial Service Providers Registration and Dispute Resolution Act and the review of consumer law.
Supplementary.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does she agree with consumer law expert Bill Bevan that the responsible lending provisions of my bill, the Credit Reforms Responsible Lending Bill, are a, quote, clear improvement to the current law?
The Honourable Rodney Hyde. Question of Carol Beaumont.
To the Minister, when she said in answer to my written question that access to low-cost credit was an issue, does she agree that interest rates of 55% or even 80% are not low cost, and that a measure such as an interest rate cap would lower these rates?
The Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Of course 80% is high, but I note that the Minister's bill would set the rate at 48%, and I think the member would be aware that the interest rate is about 38% from the Ministry's surveys. And again, I'd make the point that it's a blunt instrument to deal with what is a complex problem. The government has a number of initiatives underway.
Order.
Point of order,
Mr
Carol
Speaker,
Beaumont.
my bill doesn't mention 48%.
Order. The member cannot litigate the answer by way of point of order. She could ask another supplementary question if she wished, but she can't do it that way. Carol
Point of
Beaumont.
order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table a email from Daryl Evans from the Mangere Budgeting Service outlining 3 case studies which have the interest rates referred to in my supplementary question.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Point of order, Carol Beaumont.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table an email from Bill Bevan from the Whitireia Community Law Centre in regard to the responsible lending provisions of my bill.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
Point of order.
Point of order, Carol Beaumont.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table written questions from the Minister where she refers to low interest.
Order. We're not going to do that. Question number 12, David Garrett.
Thank you, Mr.